Good morning and welcome to Purpose Driven Finances, where our focus is helping you use your finances to achieve the purpose and plan for your life. And now here's the host of Purpose Driven Finances, Alan Molina with Serwus Capital Management.
Hey, good morning. This is Alan Molina, your host, Purpose Driven Finances, President, Serwus Capital Management. How you doing this glorious day? I tell you, folks, you know what I'm excited about? I get to mow the grass after like 4 weeks of not mowing the grass. That just means we got some water from the heavens. So it's a great thing.
You're excited about that, huh?
In theory.
In theory.
In theory.
Yeah, you're excited about the idea of it.
I am, and I had my mechanic put new tires on the lawnmower, which is just a glorious thing, and they did a great job. And I got to put them together. Got to lift it up with a tractor. Everybody just gets to know what I'm doing. But you know what, Mary, I talk about my day. No one's ever called because everybody knows I tape in advance. Mm-hmm. So if you're listening and you don't have anything to do, I got some weed eating, some logs to cut, some glorious things. Mary, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Hey, that's great.
Thank you.
That's great. So folks, what we're going to be doing is talking purpose-driven finances, helping you achieve the purpose and plan for your life. And you know what that means. It means that I am passionate to help you get where you want to go. I love people, love helping them solve problems and achieve what they're looking to achieve. And I try not to put my what I think they should do or anything like that into the equation because it doesn't matter. We're all different and we all have different desires, abilities, and goals. That being said, the beginning of this segment, I wish we could do this live and you call in and answer your question because I love hard questions. I love being put on the spot. I just enjoy that. But, my name is not Sean Hannity, and so no one's calling in. But if you do want to call in, and you can call the line here at WLNI, or call my office, 434-316-0246.
And our 24/7 comment line is 333-2009.
Oh, wow.
The 24/7 comment line.
All right. Mm-hmm. See, I was like, there's a lot of numbers around here. I don't know which one to use, so I'm just going to be quiet. Mary's got it. That's good. So, folks, you get multiple lines. And actually, I was meeting with a client this week doing a review, and they suggested a radio show podcast, which we're going to do in the coming weeks. So it's going to be exciting. So, Mary, we got some questions from Google.
Yep.
And if you don't like these, you can ask me whatever you want.
Well, so we thought that, Alan, you're going to talk about what people are asking Google this
exactly.
week.
See, I dropped the ball.
That's okay. And so the number one question, can I actually afford retirement anymore? Because I guess people are thinking the cost of everything has gone up. Do I need to readjust my plan because everything costs more than it did a couple of years ago? One
thing that's really surprised me is there's a lot of angst in the market with people. And I'm not really sure why. Because, the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ are just a little bit off of all-time highs. And there isn't, this month, July, in my data is a quad 4, which is basically not the place you want to be. It's kind of like going to a funeral. It's not a great place to go. But that being said, I've talked to clients, I've talked to prospective clients, and they don't believe what the government says about inflation. They're like, it's not really 3%. I was talking to a builder this week, and he said, Alan, looking at paint and lumber and sheetrock and nails, it's 7, 8, 10%. Mm-hmm. And he said, look, go to the grocery store. It's a lot more than that. And so the problem we have with the government is they changed the way the inflation is done because it used to really track a broad basket of goods. And they've done multiple times of changes of CPI data where they removed a whole lot of stuff. But what's interesting is people still follow it. That being said, the biggest thing that you need to do is whether you have $10 million in your retirement, whether you have $10,000. And you say, well, Alan, $10,000. I have a client. She's a widow. She gets $70 out of two accounts, and that makes her month. And she lives frugally. She lives and she's happy. She's never complaining, but it really takes care of what she needs to get done. So here's what I would suggest about your current lifestyle in retirement. There's Mary. Do you know any bad words?
Like words I can't say on the radio?
Right.
I do.
Right. Like 4-letter words, 3-letter words. There's let me see. Yeah, there's a 6-letter word that most people consider very bad. Yes.
I don't know what is
budget.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. That's the B word.
Right, the B word. That's 5 letters. But that being said, people don't like the word budget.
Yep.
But here's the issue. What's amazing is budget takes the emotion out of your spending, and budget takes the emotion out of, am I going to have enough? Am I not going to have enough? Because at the end of the month, you know, if you're spending $4,000 and your income is $4,500, you're okay. But if your income is $4,000 and you're spending $4,100, there's an issue. And so if you sit down and do a budget, and realistically, it's an easy process, and you don't have to stick to it. Because, Mary, I have friends who are in their 60s, and they're on the envelope system of cash. But what ends up happening is, even on the envelope system, you borrow from this envelope and put it over here. You know, it's not always that smooth. So realistically, all it does is takes a snapshot, and it helps you curtail your spending. You know, I like seafood. Do you like seafood, Mary?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I wish I did. I know it's good for you, but I don't.
Yeah, and that was quick. You know.
Yeah.
But with me, I like some seafoods.
Right.
You know, I've had octopus.
Probably not.
Oh, not really.
But look at salmon. Do you like salmon?
It's okay.
Okay.
I'm more of a lobster, shrimp, scallop kind of guy.
Yep.
But the issue there is, if you go down to Myrtle Beach or South Carolina, you know, deeper, Charleston, Outer Banks, and you go and get seafood, and you're looking at it, and you're like, can I spend $80 for my food, or should I spend $30? And knowing your budget and your income, it helps you adjust your retirement lifestyle. And it makes you, what it ends up doing is it takes the emotion out of it and provides a 5-letter word that is glorious. Peace. I think it's 5 letters.
Very nice. So another thing that people are looking up, that they're Googling, is where to put their cash, because those 5% bank CDs are starting to disappear.
They are gone. You know, almost said 4-letter word, gone. You know, I'm wearing that train out. You know, that's bad. Yeah, it's gone. I have some friends, and they're very intelligent people, because they're my friend. No, I'm just kidding. Right. Just kidding. And he was like, Alan, I got $300,000. I'm like, bro, I can help you. There's a thing. And if you don't want to be my client, I'm going to give you some free advice. Okay. Look at BIL. It's an ETF. It's a very short duration treasury. It does go up during the month, and then when it pays out, it goes down. But use something like that, SGOV. I think it's SGOV. Or it might be even BILL. I'm not really, I don't have all of them memorized. But I know BIL. And it is a short-term treasury that pays a nice income. And there's things that you can do such as that. Or you can buy a treasury bond, or unless you have a large amount of money, I wouldn't try to buy corporate bonds, because just because they have a nice yield doesn't mean it's safe. And so my suggestion is looking at the ETF BIL.
Now, another thing people are Googling is how much of your portfolio should be safe versus how much should be in the market. So how do you answer that?
Well, the question with that is, it's a misnomer in my mind. Because if I told you, hey, Mary, your portfolio is classified as moderately conservative. It has 40% stock in it. In 2009, in January, you're like, thanks, bro, I'm down 30%. That doesn't feel very conservative to me, because the stock market at the lowest points, I think, was down 56%. So a 40% stock portfolio could be down that. Not only that, but Mary, do you consider U.S. government bonds safe or secure? You would think that.
Yes. Yeah, you'd think so. Yeah.
Well, if you, at points in the past 5 years, if you bought a 30-year Treasury bond thinking it had a nice yield and it was safe, it dropped. Looking at the ETF, I'm thinking now. If you want, don't quote me on this because I don't have it pulled up, and I didn't. Like I said, I don't review the questions because I like to be fresh. I think it was down almost 50%. And it's a U.S. government bond, nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
That's dramatic. And if you bought bonds expecting to be safe, and it can decimate you. So I think a safe investment a lot of times is a misnomer. And we're going to get into various styles of portfolio management. But the issue there is, rather than trying to pick a safe investment, a lot of people I like annuities because they always keep their value. The problem with annuities you have is liquidity and taxes, but also they're basically guaranteed by that company. And what happens if that company has issues? Then you have issues. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you say, well, I've never heard of an annuity company. Just Google it. That went bankrupt. Is there any other questions? Or you want to go to a break?
I think that's covered.
Well, it's exciting that question was perfect, Mary, because we're going to go into the 5 styles of portfolio management.
Okay.
And the reason I say 5 styles, because realistically there's more than that, but I didn't want to get into like level 2 or sub-levels. Realistically, the 5 styles that people in the Lynchburg area, or if you're listening to this podcast, wherever your financial advisor is, I dare to say they fit into one of these buckets. And let's see if you like it, you don't like it, you want to change it, you want to amalgamate it, whatever. Give me a call, 434-316-0246. I'll catch you on the flip side.
Hi, everyone. Brian Kilmeade here. Coming up on the next edition of the Brian Kilmeade Show, we'll have the biggest newsmakers, news breakers, and take a deep dive into news you care about. Whether it's breaking news, entertainment, politics, or sports, even pop culture, I'll bring you the latest developments with expert analysis from the big names you know and love. Plus, you never know who may stop by. That's all coming up on the next edition of the Brian Kilmeade Show.
Weekday mornings from 9 to noon on WLNI. And now, back to Purpose-Driven Finances. Here's Alan Molina with Serwus Capital Management.
Hey, good morning again. Alan Molina, host of Purpose-Driven Finances, president of Serwus Capital Management, helping you achieve the purpose and plan for your life through financial planning, portfolio management. And if you have any questions, feel free to give me a call. We're a little late. I promised you or told you about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, that I was going to have a survey on my website. It's just because of not Christmas, but July 4th and a wedding. But then on top of that, I've been working tirelessly. I'm probably 200 hours in of automating the flow of information. That way I can manage portfolios a lot more efficiently. And so that's taken precedence. So hopefully we get that done the next week. It's actually prepared, going through compliance. That's a glorious thing. But that way you can click on there and do a survey. And we're going to do one for financial planning and portfolio management. But that being said, what I wanted to talk about today is the 5 styles of portfolio management. Because a lot of times what happens to the general industry is you get a dog and pony show. Now, Mary, do you guys running a radio station, do you guys get dog and pony shows from people?
Sure. We have.
Wow. Like salesmen?
We have, yes, we have some people who are that's a lot of dog and pony shows. Yeah.
Well, I didn't know that. Yeah. I didn't expect here's a speaker, or I didn't think that, or that's interesting. But what ends up happening?
And maybe we should explain, what do you mean by a dog and pony show?
A dog and pony show is someone presenting, and you're exactly right. We should explain. A dog and pony show to me is, well, this is my glorious widget, and this is how the glorious widget will help your life be better. Be cheaper,
right?
Achieve your goals, achieve your whatever. And it's normal in my industry. It's either projected, or it's stapled together, or it's pieces of paper that are nice and colorful, charts and numbers and small writing, and people are like, I don't get this.
Right.
I'm confused. I have 30 pages you're showing me. Do you really want to, that's what I mean by dog and pony show.
It looks really fancy, but is it really worth anything?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Like, I'll give you an example. I'm not the hugest fan of annuities. If you need them and you really want them, I can find a great new annuity for you that you're not locked into it for years. But that being said, I had a client who was like, Alan, I'm talking to this guy, and he wants to give me an annuity that's 7% guaranteed income benefit and all these other things. And he said, yeah, it'll be that for the next ever how long. And I almost said his name. And he didn't listen anyway, but I almost said his name. I decided to read the fine print, and it said, once you take $1 withdrawal, the 7% stops. So I was like, my friend,
yeah,
how does that really help you? And he didn't like that. And so everything else sounded really good, but the fine print didn't. And so what I'm trying to do is take the dog and pony shows, because I get them all the time. I get my dog and pony shows to let everybody know, if you want to know. I just like to talk. Is, Mary, I probably get 5 to 6 companies people want to buy the firm a week.
Really?
Oh, my word.
Wow.
It's I don't think it's anything glorious. It's just they're not in the Lynchburg area, and they're like, let me, this guy's old, and let me see if I can poach his business. That's probably what it is. The other item is people want to rebuild my website, or give me software, or sell me software, or move to this custodian, the other one is all these investments. Mm-hmm. My mutual fund, my annuity, my ETF, it's the best thing since sliced bread. But for the individual investor whose purpose and plan is to raise their kids, have their grandkids on their lap, go fishing, go diving, go horseback riding, hunting, fishing, driving cars, you go through these presentations and you're like, what does it really mean? So let's I haven't broken them down into basically 5 styles, and the 5th one is mine, and hopefully we won't spend very long on mine, because we're going to spend the next radio show podcast talking about it.
Okay.
Really my philosophy, why I do what I do, and things such as that. So, Mary, the first one is buy and hold static allocation. I've met with some clients and prospective clients that use Vanguard, and basically what they do, that Vanguard is, they do have 2 versions. If you're a high net worth, they'll do more hands-on. But if you're not, or even sometimes if you are high net worth, it's basically, we believe in following the index. We believe in picking these Vanguard funds that are a broad index and sticking with it. Dave Ramsey's that way.
Okay.
Dave Ramsey's, he says, pick these 5 mutual funds, set it and forget it, and move on.
And that sounds really good when you're 30.
Right.
And you still have decades to go, and you know it's going to it might have its ups and downs, but it's going to go up. Mm-hmm. And how about, though, if you're right there ready to retire, or you have retired and you're afraid of a big dip?
Right. And that's totally valid, simply because, Mary, if you make it, when I say you, I'm not talking about you, just you as a person. If you make it to your mid-60s without any significant health issues, what I mean by that is heart, cancer, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The likelihood of you hitting your 90s is in the 75th percentile.
Really? Huh.
That's so a lot of people are like, I'm 60s, my bones creak, and people laugh. But realistically, there's a high probability that you have another 30 years to live. And the longer we go, the better we take care of ourselves. 100 is going to be, I remember growing up, Willard Scott on the Today Show would say, Mildred is 100 years old. And it got to where it was like, there's a lot of 100 years old. We can't do that anymore. So the problem, like you said, is if you are in retirement age and you experience a 50, 40% drawdown in your account, that can be highly detrimental. And so the set it and forget it, over time, it works. It does.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're going to get what the index gives you. Average for the S&P 500, I believe, is 8-9%. And I'm not talking about the past 5 years. I'm talking about a market cycle is 8-9%, going back, a decade or probably 15 years. And if you want to talk about it, we can. But that's basically buy and hold static allocation. Now, number 2 is modern portfolio theory. Now, Mary, I used to do all these.
Mm-hmm.
And there's issues with them all. Modern portfolio theory, that Dr. Markowitz won the Nobel Prize of Economics in 1992. And he came up with something called the J-curve. Now, the J-curve is basically, he patterned it after the Dow, but then it was expanded to every asset class. And the theory behind it is basically diversification. And I did it with Anthony. I don't know if you listened or not, but we talked about in the Bible in Ecclesiastes, it said the diversification up to eight places.
Mm-hmm.
So diversification is not something new. He just made it really fancy and pretty. That being said, the biggest issue with modern portfolio theory is when you get a economic recession. I'm not talking about a month of quad 4 like we are right now. Yes, portfolios, depending on how you're positioned, they went down a little bit. But when I say significant recession, I'm talking about 2020 was a significant recession, but the problem is it rebounded very quickly. It wasn't a problem, but it wasn't long term. 2007, 8, 9, I believe 21. I think 22 was a tough year as well. That being said, modern portfolio theory, what ends up happening is your assets, and I'm going to use a big word, folks, become highly correlated. And what that means is in a recession, when the markets are going down, you would think you go to safety, like utilities and things like that, consumer staples. The problem is in a recession, the average stock goes down about 28%, including utilities. Mm-hmm. Tech goes down a lot more. Industrials, materials sometimes go down, or communications go down even more. A lot more than 26 to 27%. But the average sector goes down 27, 28% in a recession. So modern portfolio theory doesn't protect you there. And although it's great and it sounds good, there's issues.
It has that weakness, yeah.
It does. What's the next one?
It looks like, active management.
Active management, yes. Now, this is, a lot of people look at the Oracle of Omaha, Warren Buffett, as an active manager. A lot of mutual funds are active managed. There's ETFs that are coming out that are active managed. And what ends up happening is active management, and the reason I say active management, because there is so many. It's kind of like when you go dress shopping for your son's wedding, there's like hundreds of dresses you got to pick. And you can pick this, and this.
Right.
That's like active managers. There's value, then there's deep value, then there's contrarian value, then there is so many different ways. Mary, there are so many active managers. Go ahead.
Well, what happens when the active managers get it wrong?
Well, that happens. Mm-hmm. And one issue that one has is, let's say that you are focused on high growth, because high growth has done well over the past 5 years, and I'm going to be high growth. Well, what happens if high growth stops being high growth, and then those sectors that start doing better that manager doesn't invest in start outperforming? So what ends up happening is your portfolio will get affected. And that's one of the biggest issues. And one thing I have seen is it's very hard for a active manager to cover the entire gamut with his proposition. What I mean by that is someone who follows tech or really has a good handle on tech generally doesn't do very good with restaurants, because it's totally two different things. Mm-hmm. And we're not even talking about healthcare and what about commodities? And so active management can be very good. One thing that I used to do as a financial advisor, Morgan Stanley, Merrill Lynch, and early in my, I even do it some now, is find active managers that do very well in good times and bad times. Or if the economy starts going downhill, we change managers. But then again, now you're acting like a portfolio manager, changing managers. So I'm going too far. So that's really active management. Number 4 is trend following. Trend following is basically, there are so many ways to follow a trend. A lot of the more, not complex, they're very simple. It's called moving averages. And they'll say, well, if this moving average goes above this moving average, then we buy it. But if it goes below this moving average, then we sell it. And there's all kinds of ways. There are so many technical indicators. Also, realistically, you can fundamentally be a trend follower. What I mean by that is if revenue is increasing, then what you do is you follow that trend and invest in companies that are growing from a revenue standpoint. And so, you know what I realized, Mary?
That sounds like the most high maintenance of all these.
Well,
is it?
Looking at the list again, static allocation is like, hey, we're going to buy this, and it's down 30%. Don't worry, it'll come back. Let's go get a steak dinner. Right. If your portfolio's doing really good, it's probably McDonald's. If it's doing really poorly, we're going to go to steak dinner, get you some golf balls, that kind of thing that's buy and hold. Modern portfolio theory, you get a guy who has a suit and almost like a smoker's jacket on. He kicks back and it's, look at this math and this glorious mathematical equation. And the reason being is, that's what happens.
Yeah. And I like it. Now you're describing the advisors. I love it.
Right. Active managers, I look at them a lot of times as a stock jockey. Or in Lynchburg, we have some active managers who are, they're a mutual fund. And they've done very well. They're value-oriented. They're great people. They've done a great job. But they're more like in the back room. I look at them with pencils behind the ear, looking at it. In the 70s, they had a spreadsheet. They would write out by hand. Now it's papers and papers and papers. So realistically, a buy and hold is the guy who sells you something and he goes play golf.
Right. And then, how about that number 4, the trend follower? What?
The trend follower. Now, it depends on how wide you want to be, because if you are, there are managers, Mary, that trend follow to the microsecond. What they do is they put their computers almost directly to the stock exchange into the microseconds. Yeah. Now, you know what? I kind of wanted to do this to leave about a minute for me because I didn't want to talk about me very much. Really, I look at mine as more quantimental. And that's not really a real word, I don't think. But it's really a micro-aware process. What I mean by that is I evaluate the economic seasons and inflation we're in, price volume volatility, which is very similar to trend following. But then I look at leadership almost like a race. You ever been to a race car track? You ever seen those?
Yeah, I've seen them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You ever gone?
No.
You should go. It's a cultural experience.
Everybody should experience like a race.
Yeah, they would. And so what I track not only who is winning the race, but also who is accelerating and decelerating. Now, folks, I know this is a lot of Greek, but hopefully you get to see what kind of financial advisor you have, what kind of financial advisor you want. And if you have questions, give me a call at 434-316-0246 or go to my website, servuscm.com. Free. The consultation is free, no obligation. And I definitely won't bother you because we're both adults. And if I can help you, you'll call me. Have a great weekend, folks.
Returns for illustrative purpose. This is not a suggestion to buy, sell, or use a platform. Only will a suggestion occur after a meeting to determine goals, risk tolerance, and time horizons. Investments involve risks and no guarantee of future results.